you're having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching. Today we're gonna talk about a couple different things. I'm gonna be filming multiple videos, so if you see me in the same fit for like 2 videos, don't yell at me. I don't have the energy to act like I filmed on different days because I didn't, and I don't usually. There's my big secret. Don't cancel me now, okay? Don't cancel me. This can't help it. Anyways, I want to say and preface a couple things. 1, sorry the background's still boring. It's probably gonna be boring for a while. 2, I'm sorry about the glare on my glasses. It's really bothering me. I don't know if it bothers you as much as it bothers me. It drives me crazy, but I can't be without my glasses because then I get migraines. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do about that. And then 3, I think 3. I'm looking over here. I'm looking at myself in the camera, but I'm not looking right there. I'm gonna try to do this more and less of this because I look kind of crazy when I look like this and I'm talking to the camera, but I'm gonna work on it. It's very unnatural feeling though, and I really don't like it. So I guess we'll see how that goes. And then please ignore the way I look. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with that being said. Hi there, I hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about a very serious topic, and that is child punishment. Punishment, because it's not like but we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna do a quick rundown. There is a husband and father by the name of Nicholas and a mother and wife by the name of Victoria. They have 2 kids together, a 5-year-old and a youngerish kid, and like a baby. And they were caught in the Trader Joe's parking lot in Wilmington, North Carolina. This father, Nicholas, was seen by multiple eyewitnesses hitting his son in many different ways. There was multiple things that happened when eyewitnesses saw multiple things happening. So we're gonna get into that. I'm just gonna first play the video though of this all happening.
I can slap my son. I can slap my son in the butt all I want. I put him down and I smacked him.
There's a couple things we're gonna go over just in that little clip we watched, and I'm gonna keep breaking it up on what I think. 1, this man is wearing a hat that says dad, ironic. 2, something I see a lot when it comes to child abuse and people kind of narrating it to be, it's just a little paw. Something I see a lot is mothers that, because most of the time I have found it is fathers abusing their kids and mothers backing the father up. What I notice a lot though is mothers will try to make you look stupid for the things you're calling out. Like, for example, she is saying, this lady, Victoria, is saying in this clip, how did he punch him in the butt? That doesn't even make any sense. But that's not what was being said. What was being said is that he was punched in the chest. And she's twisting your words, because basically what I've seen a lot of people do is they really want you to look stupid. They want you, and if you're not stupid, they want you to then get pissed that they didn't hear you the right way, and they want you to act out in a way that makes you look worse than they currently do. I have seen this so much. So I got really irritated when she said that, because I was like, you know what you're doing. You're doing it on purpose, but I haven't seen anyone in the comments say anything about it. Like, that's why she's doing it. But nonetheless, next thing is Nicholas in the beginning said, I can slap my kid in the butt all I want, or pop my kid in the butt. I think it's really funny, and Danielle made a great point in her post. Parents will say everything but spank. For example, they'll say pop, top, tap, hit, slap, poppy, I don't know. there's a lot of different words I've heard. Paddle. There's a lot of different words I've heard used to describe spanking. And I think a big reason why people don't use the word spanking is because spanking is a sexual act. And if you were to spank an adult, it would be a sexual assault. So why is it different for a child? Not really sure. I also have a couple of thoughts. One, I'm noticing this is in North Carolina. I am going to assume, and this is an assumption, I don't know as far as watching what I know right now. My assumption is a lot of people in North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, South Carolina, whatever it may be in the South, a lot of people who live in the South believe that spanking kids is okay because the Bible says so. Or at least they think the Bible says so. So a lot of these people back their actions up through religion, which I'm actually not sure if these people are going to even mention. I'm taking a guess though, that's probably why they spank their kids, because that's why a lot of people in the South spank their kids, because they think the verse, spare the rod, spoil the child, means to beat the crap out of your kids. In fact, they actually think it means to just pop your kids in general. And they think it means to spank your kids, which it doesn't, but I also, we'll get into that, but and then there was a caption in this video that says, man drags his son, so Nicholas drags his son across the parking lot aggressively, throws him into the car, winds up to spank him, and punches him in the chest. So that's what's currently happening, and these two are obviously very upset that they're getting called out by this lady who is just doing her job as a citizen. Anyone that sees things like this needs to say something. And in reality, people who are abusive are often going to have abusive reactions. They're going to get pissed, they're going to get upset. I think it's why a lot of people stray away from trying to talk about or make reports. It's why I feel like a lot of people try to stray away from making reports. But I don't think someone's actions should hinder helping a child in any way whatsoever.
You're gonna leave, okay?
Go ahead.
I'm allowed to discipline my son.
I don't care if you video me. I never said anything about it. Protect yourself.
I can slap my son. I can slap my son in the butt all I want. I put him down and I smacked him.
We saw what else you did to him too, sir.
What else did I do? I
You
yelled
threw
at
him in the sea and you punched him in the chest. That's not
No, I
needed.
did not.
That's not needed.
No, I
You
did
got
not
3
punch him in the
witnesses.
chest.
You have 3 witnesses. Okay, I won't.
I'm gonna be honest, if I was sitting in a parking lot, and there's a couple ways I'm gonna view this. If I was sitting in a parking lot and someone thought they saw my husband hit my kid in the chest and drag him across the parking lot, what do I gain from thinking that this stranger is lying to me? A lot of people think when you come forward to speak out about abusers, everyone's automatic assumption is, you're lying, I know that person. What do I gain from lying about that? I gain nothing. Strangers on the street of North Carolina in Trader Joe's don't gain anything from lying about your husband abusing your kid. They don't gain anything. They don't earn anything from this. So why would they lie? Why? And then you think maybe they saw it the wrong way. If they saw it the wrong way, why did you respond like that? I feel like this man's and this woman's response tells me everything I need to know about these people. They definitely are child abusers. Because when you respond in such a passionate, like, oh my gosh, defensive way, it tells me that you're already guilty and that you're trying to back your case up. The problem is, if I was sitting somewhere and someone really did lie on my name, let's say somebody said, hey, you hit your kid, I saw you punch your kid. I didn't punch my kid. I would just say, oh, I didn't punch my kid. And if that person said, yes, you did, I'm calling the cops, I would say, okay. I promise you I didn't punch my kid, but like, I'm thinking to myself, if this person thinks that they saw that, what do I gain from, like, I can't convince them that they didn't see that. You can't convince somebody that they didn't see something. Let's say, hypothetically, this person is lying. Why not just calmly react? Because that seems to be a problem. People who have calm reactions to things and talk things out and, I don't know, act like an adult are not the same people that hit their kids, usually. This man's automatic anger and refuge and pissy response, and this woman automatically defending this man, them coming at this woman who's recording, using vulgar language, tells me all I need to know, that you can't have a calm reaction with someone and you can't calmly sit down. You're doing this because you don't know how to respond and regulate your emotions, which is probably why you hit your kid, because you can't regulate correctly and you can't communicate and you can't act like an adult.
Have a wonderful time. Thank you.
I'll show the cops I don't have TikTok. And I don't hit my kids. I don't hit my kids. Bye! Bye, child abusers! More than you. Bye!
Victoria also says corporal punishment is allowed. Corporal punishment is allowed in the United States. It is okay legally to hit your kid. Does that make it right? No. There are a lot of things that are very, very foul that children are allowed to deal with because at the end of the day, the law doesn't go against it. The justice system isn't made for children, unfortunately, and it should be. And I can't wait for a perfect world where people start speaking up for children, but it starts with this. The justice system isn't made with the intent of children. It's made with the intent of keeping peace with the justice system. A lot of times, if you find a man guilty of rape, for example, that man doesn't go to prison because if he goes to prison, it might cause problems in the prison. For example, he might rape somebody else. He could file a lawsuit. He might get upset. If he has a lot of money, it could go really badly, really bad. People could get canceled. People could lose their careers, even though they're doing the right thing. If they let him go, the only people they hear from are people who, in their eyes, don't really mean much to them, which is why a lot of rape cases go under the bus. But I feel like this works for children as well. Children, oftentimes, in the legal system, children are seen as people who don't have voices, which I think is really, really aggravating because children, just because you're under the age of 18 doesn't mean you're incompetent, and it doesn't mean that you're incompetent to understanding emotions, feeling physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse. It doesn't make you immune to these things, and it doesn't make it any less harmful than it would be to an adult. Can you spank an adult? Legally, no. So what's the difference with a child? Why are children looked at as incompetent beings that can't process things being done to them? Children are learning, and I will get into, there's a difference between children who are learning and they need to learn how to regulate their emotions. They are little human beings that are learning. I'm not saying children are perfect and grown-up adults. Like, that's just not how that works, but children are still human. So what's the difference in that human life and your human life? What's the difference to you? Because you can spank a kid, but you can't spank an adult, but you're both human at the end of the day. Is it because one of you makes more money? Is it because one of you pays taxes? What might it be? And then I think to myself, like, for example, when you're 17, does that allow you to spank your kid? Or is that looked at as more sexual? Is it looked at as more sexual because they're older? Well, what's the difference in being 5? If you spank your kid at 17, it's seen as a sexual act, and the court actually might look at it as a, whoa, that's kind of a weird thing to be doing. So why is it that when it's a 5-year-old, it's okay? That's a minor. 17-year-olds are minors. Just a thought. Now I'm going to watch the video that Nicholas and Victoria posted of their response to this entire situation. We're gonna get into that.
Their kids allegedly at the Trader Joe's in Wilmington, North Carolina, made their account private. But for everybody that didn't get to see it, in case you were wondering, this is their excuse for putting their hands on a child. Ice cream. Yeah.
Hi there. We're the alleged child abusers. I'm Victoria. This is my husband, Nick. I say alleged because this woman is making these allegations that are not true.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. I have a lot of things to say. I'm probably gonna have a lot of things to say. So if you get pissed at me, keep stopping and starting. Sorry. Not sorry. She starts off with a giggly attitude. We're the alleged child abusers. Why is that funny to you? Why is that a funny topic to you? If I was accused of child abuse, I would be pissing myself. I would be like, oh my gosh, like I have to prove to these people like I did not do this. Like getting on there with a snarky face and being like, we're the alleged child abusers. It's not quirky. That's a crime. People die from child abuse. Child abuse affects you mentally, physically. Child abuse is, in so many forms, very bad for a child's development. Child abuse affects adults later on. Child abuse affects kids. Kids dissociate, they have nightmares, they wet the bed for multiple years on end, they get trauma, panic attacks. Why is that funny to you? Why is it funny to be like, we're the alleged child abusers? Why is that cute? Why is that funny? If I was accused of child abuse, I would be sobbing my heart out and being like, I will do anything to prove to you guys I am not like I don't know. I don't even know. Like, my thing is, you don't usually get accused for things you don't do. But it's how you respond to the accusations that do start to look really odd. So if it's not true, why are you laughing? Why is it funny? Why is it fun?
In North Carolina, which is where we live, you're allowed to spank your child, and that is what happened. I didn't. My husband spanked our son.
I could run you through the whole story.
Yeah, the whole story.
Before we went into Trader Joe's, we had a conversation with my son.
About ice cream.
About ice cream.
We had ice cream. We had left. We had a family day at the aquarium, and we were going to go get ice cream. But first, we were shopping at Trader Joe's. And my son was upset that we stopped at Trader Joe's first because he wanted, as any 5-year-old, not the baby that's in the video. That child has never been spanked. She's a baby.
The baby has never been spanked, but the 5-year-old has, because the 5-year-old's old enough to get spanked, but the baby's too young. I'm confused, Victoria. I'm really confused. Your kids should always be your babies. That doesn't mean you baby them 24/7, but children are children. A 5-year-old doesn't know how to do everything, Victoria, and a 5-year-old doesn't automatically become, the target for your husband's rage and anger. There is a type of man that very commonly believes that, again, it comes back to the stem of religion, and especially Christianity, South, that women should kind of obey the husband, children should obey the father. The father is the head of the house. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. But there is a certain man, and I feel like I've met them a lot in that specific category, where they have this undealt with anger and rage in their soul and bones 24/7. Like this type of man is just always raged, like full of rage, full of anger. And they take it out on their kids. They don't take it out on their friends. They don't take it out on their colleagues. But they do take it out on their friends. But it's this look. You can see this look. You know the look. You know the look if you've experienced the look. And it's because he knows he's guilty, but he will do anything to prove that he's not guilty except not do it, if that makes sense. And it's like a flabbergasted look. How could you dare accuse me of being a child abuser? But not because they aren't a child abuser, but because they couldn't dare you for getting into their own personal information and exposing them like that.
he got upset like any 5-year-old would that we stopped at Trader Joe's, and he wanted to go straight to ice cream. And we tried to explain to him, like, hey dude, you know, just chill. We have to grab a few things and then we'll still go get ice cream. I put in those delicious Trader Joe sandwich cookies, that sandwich ice cream cookies, in the cart, and he freaked out. He was like, oh my gosh, are those the ice creams we're doing? And I'm like, no. And he threw a temper tantrum. And then my husband walked out.
So then I removed my son from the store. I took him across the parking lot. I had a conversation with him halfway through the parking lot that we are going to go to the car. As we had a conversation beforehand, before we went into Trader Joe's, I told him that if something happens and you throw a temper tantrum, we're going to have to come to the car and we're going to have a conversation. I brought him to the car. I placed him on the passenger seat. I smacked him once in the butt. Spanked him.
Sorry,
once.
we gotta watch our words here. Smack, slap, like he got a pop in the butt.
Open hand,
slap
in the butt.
No marks were left. Nothing crazy. Like this lady was describing something like this. Like y'all look up the front seat of a Honda Odyssey. There's not room for all these activities that this woman said was happening. Like that's kind of like the bizarre part of. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay. What I'm hearing is, and I'm going to break it down in case you didn't understand. Their 5-year-old son wanted ice cream. The mom said, we'll get ice cream, buddy. They went to Trader Joe's. She got ice cream sandwiches. The kid, who was 5, got confused and thought that was the ice cream they were getting, not real ice cream. So the 5-year-old had a tantrum. It's almost because it's a 5-year-old. It's almost like 5-year-olds don't comprehend things the same way maybe a 40-year-old man does. Kids are allowed to throw tantrums. Even when I've seen like a lot of people be like, I can't gentle parent because I don't know how I would handle a tantrum. Kids throw tantrums whether you hit them or gentle parent them, because children are children at the end of the day. I was a very responsible kid. I had to mature very quickly, unfortunately, and even I threw tantrums. It's because you're still learning. There's a lot of things you have to learn, but mostly importantly, and this is a great age where you teach a kid to regulate their emotions. It's okay to get upset and it's okay to get confused. Children don't know everything. Being confused is a normal thing that people experience every single day. But when you have a kid, you just explain to the kid that your situation. You explain, I'm getting sandwiches right now, but I'm getting ice cream sandwiches right now, but we will get ice cream later on. I'm sorry that it's very confusing, and confusion is very frustrating. And I think a lot of people, confusion is a very frustrating thing as well. So I imagine the kid was very frustrated because now this kid thinks that he's been lied to, that he's not going to get the ice cream he wants. And you're probably thinking to yourself, is this really that big of a deal? It's not. It's not this big deal. It's a 5-year-old who got confused about something and got frustrated as a response. So that's how a 5-year-old reacts. That's how a 5-year-old is supposed to react. So what you do is get down on his level, you explain to him. If he's still frustrated and throwing a tantrum, you let him be. You can't control everything your child does 24/7, which is why a lot of people hit their kids. A lot of people hit their kids or spank, whatever you want to call it, because they need to control your reactions 24/7. But that's just not how that works. Like, you can be as controlling as you want, but you're not going to control everything your child does, no matter how hard you try. But there's a lot of men that get upset when they can't control everything and then lash out in anger. Some of them hit, some of them cuss out, some of them do a lot worse things. This man allegedly punched his kid in the chest and threw him in the car and hit him on the butt and spanked him and yelled at him. That was his response. So Victoria, I'm getting confused. You have to help me out here, Victoria. Which one is the 5-year-old here? Because I feel like your husband's acting like a 5-year-old because he can't process his emotions correctly. Interesting.
So I put my son in the passenger seat. I closed the door. I went around to the driver's seat. We had a conversation, de-escalated the conversation. I told him to go gently. I told him to go walk to your car seat. I did not throw him in the car seat,
like,
through the center console.
From the passenger seat through like the little center console thing to his car seat. Nobody threw anyone. Like,
This is where I imagine this lady assumed I punched my son in the chest. I would never do that in my life. That could kill a child. That's insane. I love my children to death, and I would do anything to harm them. But in my eyes, this was something that, you know, the temper tantrum that he threw, this was something that we talked about previous with him in the car before we went into Trader Joe's, that, you know, if something happens at Trader Joe's, we're going to have to go to the car and have a conversation.
No marks were left. Oh my gosh, I hate this line. This line is used by so many dim-witted people that I know when they want to justify hitting their children. No marks were left, which means you were actively looking for a mark. Why are you looking for a mark if, one, you don't abuse your kid regularly, or two, you don't hit your kid that hard? If you don't hit your kid that hard, why would you look for a mark in the first place? And why does it matter whether a mark is left? What's the difference? If I bend you over and spank you at your grown-ass age, it's still sexual assault whether my hand left a print or not. What's the difference with a child? There is not. There is none.
Nothing crazy.
Also, Nicholas keeps interrupting Victoria, and there's two different vibes going on here. He's trying to control the narrative so much. Every time she goes to say something and he thinks it's just that out of line that make him look any bad, he interrupts her and starts speaking over her, which is so disrespectful, Nicholas. You don't speak over people. You're an adult, you should know that, okay? But he interrupts his wife, controls the conversation, and his wife looks kind of scared of what to say next. Like, she doesn't know the whole story, or she doesn't really know what to say. She's like, oh, is this okay to say? And she keeps looking at her husband for things to say. And when he's talking, she looks like very kind of scared, which makes me wonder what goes on with them personally. I believe there's plenty of room inside of a Honda Odyssey to slap and punch your kid. So again, Victoria is trying to kind of go over to something else that's really and irrelevant to the entire situation. She's trying to talk about something else. Look up the front seat of a Honda Odyssey. How could you hit a kid in that? Like, that doesn't make us forget what just happened. Like, she's trying to get off on another point so that she can distract the people that's listening so that it makes it look better. She's trying to make you look stupid as shit because you think her husband hit a kid. Like, she's trying to make you feel stupid for thinking this, which is a tactic a lot of child abusers do because they don't want to be the bad guy. That could kill a child. So could spanking a kid. That could kill a kid. You're just saying that to make yourself look more believable, and I know you are. Spanking also kills children, because when you spank a kid and then they have trauma from it multiple years later, they could commit suicide. Nicholas?
Like I said, I did spank him in the butt one time. That was it. Left no marks. I checked afterwards.
So after the whole situation, I guess somebody tapped on the window. I was inside, mind you, I was inside with our baby.
Someone tapped on the car and said that the manager might be calling the police, and I said, okay, that's fine. I'm just disciplining my son the way I saw fit. I came outside
after he called me with our baby, and that's when the woman, she was yelling that we were child abusers while I was walking up. And
there's a couple things I want to say. She just said she wasn't there. So Victoria never saw this happen, but she automatically defends her husband. Victoria, what does a stranger on the side of a Trader Joe's parking lot gain from telling you your husband hit your kid? Nothing. You need to stop believing these men like you know these men. I cannot stand when women get married and think, I can't stand relationships half the time anyways, but I really can't stand when women get married and they think that their husband is just all-knowing, all-powerful, and could never do a harmful thing in the entire world. And no matter how much proof and no matter how much proof and evidence you show these women, they will never believe you. Victoria, no one gains anything from lying to you. No one. If someone came and told me my partner hit my child across the chest, no matter how much I think I know this person, I was not there. I'm not going to defend that. That's my kid, okay? I'm going to say, you know what? If there's nothing to hide, I wasn't there. I'm taking my kid's side. I'm taking my kid. I'm calling the police. I want it investigated. I'm letting my kid know, baby, if there's something going on, I really, like, you can talk to me. You can talk to the police. I need you to speak, like, if it's possible, we can speak up. Like, you just give me the okay. I will figure it out. Like, you're not meant to figure this out. Like, I will figure it out. That's all that has to be done there, Victoria. If nothing was really happening, why didn't you respond like that? Because you probably know something is happening. But there are 3 eyewitnesses that saw the exact same thing. None of these people know each other. They all 3 saw the same exact thing. They got in the car and they decided they were going to wait for the police. Was that before or after you checked your kid from works? And is that before or after you knew your kid knew better not to talk? No, law enforcement and CPS are not the professionals in a situation like this. And it always drives me crazy and it's always people in the South too that say, like, the police have the best, like, our best interest in heart. You just say that because they didn't find you guilty of anything yet. You're saying that to get on their sides. CPS doesn't help you. CPS could see physical abuse, police could see physical abuse, and they would never do anything about it themselves. They would never report it, they would never do anything about it, they would never fix it. I'm so glad CPS is doing their job and that they probably talk to your kid on the side, but your kid's probably not going to have the guts to say anything about their dad or about their mom. Just like many kids don't. Because CPS doesn't help a lot of children. CPS actually makes it worse for a lot of children. I know how it goes. You know, they run you the script, they tell you the script, and then you go to CPS and you have to say your lines. Because you're 5 and you don't know what's going to happen to you if you don't. Okay? 5-year-olds can't always tell the truth because they're scared. If you hit your kid, your kid's probably scared of you.
And I walked up and I said, "Hey, like, can you stop? Like, this is unnecessary. You are making allegations that aren't true." And she started, screaming and saying that he did this and calling us child abusers. And that's when I lost my temper and I said, like, what proof do you have of this? Like, you're just saying these things, but my son is inside. He at this point, he's not crying. He's not showing signs of a child that just got punched in the chest. Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't make any sense what this woman is saying. If I had any doubt of what was happening and if I believed that my child was punched in the chest, I would have been like, "Hey, can you tell me more about what you saw?" I trust my husband, but you never know. Like, he would never do something like that. But I would have, as a mom, asked, "Hey, like, what is happening? Like, why these allegations?" Like, when I walked past the van around to where the lady was, my son was sitting there just looking. And I told her, I was like, "You're making these accusations over what?" And so we got in the car and we were about to drive off, but I said, "You know what? She said she's calling the cops. Let's move across the parking lot and wait for the police. Like, we have nothing to hide. We didn't do anything that is abusive to this child. Let's just talk to them so they can look at him. They can make their decision. They are law enforcement. They are the professionals in a situation like this." And they did. They took her information. She made a report. And said whatever and said she was a mandated reporter, which that's great. Thank you for reporting a situation that you thought was needed to be reported. Anytime you allege child abuse, you know, that's the right thing to do.
I think we would do the same thing.
I think, yeah, I would do the same thing. So I can't blame her for that. And that's why we went back and we talked to police. Police talked to our son, inspected him, said, you know what, these are the police's words, not mine. Oh, sorry. This is a case of somebody blowing things out of proportion. Those were what they said. And as a matter of fact, one of the female officers that was there, she came up to him and jokingly said, straight to jail, Dad. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing here that is criminal.
The problem we have is that you guys are only hearing half of the story.
Not the full
You're not
story.
hearing our side of the story.
CPS is involved because, you know, a police report was made. She reported it to CPS, and CPS is doing their job, which I'm very thankful that they're doing their job, because if this was a situation of child abuse, it is only right for a child for them to do a full investigation. They're investigating us, and they came out and they talked to Nicholas, and they are doing their job, and we're complying just like we complied with law enforcement that day.
You don't get a cookie because you complied. Like, that's the bare minimum. Like, oh, we complied with law enforcement. Like, we're not trying to be difficult here, but you were disrespectful and rude and very defensive to the lady on the street. None of this probably would have happened if you just acted like an adult and complied when this woman was speaking to you. And I don't want to hear she was yelling child abuser. You're an adult. Act like it. Why are you so butthurt if it's not true?
So, really, the threats, the name calling that we're receiving is very uncalled for.
Comments on our Facebook, comments on our Instagrams, it's ridiculous.
The threats that they're receiving is uncalled for, but when you threaten to hit your son, is that uncalled for? Or is it different because, you know, you pay taxes? Where does that line get drawn, Nicholas?
I understand that people have different views when it comes to disciplining children, and you have every right to believe that, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, you know, I have different views on something that you might have a different view on, and I respect that. And it doesn't give me the right to harass you on, you know, whatever the case may be.
I cannot stand the argument of, I respect your beliefs, so you should respect mine. But their beliefs are just against humanity and morals altogether. No, you're just a horrible person, and you think that makes you, I'm innocent because I'm a human being I'm respecting your morals, and I'm respecting your beliefs, so you need to respect my beliefs. No, you're horrible, bro. Like, you're a horrible person. And I'm gonna dog on MAGA because I always have to add a little, but I hear that a lot from MAGA. They're like, okay, I respect your beliefs, why can't you respect my political beliefs? Because your political beliefs have children dying and children being raped every single day.
So we just would like to share our story and not be berated by
It's very
people.
important for everyone to hear on the internet both sides of the story.
Not to mention, which is like...
Both sides of the story. There are 3 sides of this story, and that automatically tells me a lot too. They're saying here, like, you need to hear both sides of the story. That tells me all I need to know, because there are 3 sides of every story. There is 3 sides of every story, but there are 3 sides of the story, period. And it's usually 3 sides of every story. There's your side, my side, and the truth. In this case, there is the parent side of the story, the viewers on the street, in the Trader Joe's parking lot, their side of the story, and then there's the truth, which would be the 5-year-old kid that experienced it. So no, Nicholas and Victoria, we don't really care about your side of the story. The truth comes with the child, which probably won't be given a lot of help.
Congrats, woman. You shared and you reported what you thought was child abuse, but you also shared my child's face on social media and exposed her to thousands of people. I don't even want to know how many views are on that, because my child's face wasn't even covered. Like, it's one thing for me or him or our family to share our children, but for a complete stranger that we don't know to share, that's just crazy. So yeah, we just wanted to share our story and give you guys an update on the full story and how everything is unfolding.
We have raised 2 beautiful, healthy children that we love so much.
They live a very nice life.
A very nice life.
You. Nobody here is being abused. Nobody is.
We had just spent the entire day that day at the aquarium.
And it was.
It's just, you know,
it was ruined.
It's a classic case of misinformation.
Just because you take your kid out to do things doesn't automatically make you a good parent either. Like, oh, we just went to the aquarium. Like, how could we be child abusers? Maybe because that's not how that works, dude. Like, maybe because child abuse doesn't just happen at home to children that are sheltered at home. Maybe because child abuse happens anywhere and everywhere. Like, for example, the Trader Joe's parking lot.
And
She said the aquarium day was ruined by this false information. My thing is, though, if a 5-year-old isn't very comprehensive of what's going on, why was it ruined? Why couldn't you act like an adult, breathe, de-escalate the situation, and then just go on with your day? And then keep celebrating and hanging out with your kid. Why was the whole day ruined? Your baby and 5-year-old didn't process what happened. And if they did, you just explained, oh, it was a misunderstanding, baby, like, things happen. You talked to them. You explained to them there was a misunderstanding. If so, that was the case. Allegedly. But why was the whole day ruined? It's people with this attitude that... Guys, I'm sorry. I have been raised around too many people with this attitude of the whole day is ruined because I was called out. No, your whole day ruined. The toddler's day is not ruined, okay? In fact, you can go on like a normal adult and regulate your emotions and process your emotions and go on with your day. Because you're an adult and that's how it works. Your whole day is not ruined because you didn't get an ice cream. You're not 5, he's 5.
From someone and spreading false rumors about. Now, I understand that at some point when my son maybe got into his car seat that she may have seen me punch him in the chest. I would never do that.
He's getting furious, by the way. You can look in his the way he's looking, the way he's shaking, the way he's getting irritated, the way his voice raised. He's getting very, very irritated. He's getting very mad.
That's not something I would ever do to my son. That is something that could potentially, you know, end the life of a child. I would never do that. All I did was.
And our son, you know, we're not gonna include him in this video because that's not.
It's not appropriate.
That's not appropriate. He's
we would never show our child like that.
That's not appropriate for him. But if we did, he would probably even say like, yeah, no, that didn't happen. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and hope this clears up some misinformation.
Thanks, guys.
The people that abuse their kids allegedly.
So there's a couple things I would like to include. One is that these two parents, Nicholas and Victoria, are both active duty military spouses. So they are both in the military. Your normal response to your child misbehaving or acting like a child is to allegedly punch him in the chest, hit him, drag him across the parking lot, and scream in his face. What goes on at home? If that's what you're comfortable with everyone else seeing, what goes on at home? Hitting a child is never okay. It doesn't even matter what the law says. The law allows child marriage. Does that make it okay? No. In the US, the law allows child marriage in certain states. Are you not clocking what I'm saying? Everything this man did to his child is against the law if it was somebody over the age of 18. But because his son is 5, it's okay. Children are not any less of people because they're under the age of 18. They deserve respect, they deserve love, they deserve kindness, they deserve support. They don't deserve to be hit because they're under the age of 18. Hitting a child is never okay. Hitting a child is never needed. This is why I cannot stand Christianity in the South. They use this spare the rod, spoil the child, which to them thinks, and it's the big Bible Belt. If you pop anything, if you put your hand on your kid in any way whatsoever, you don't deserve a child. You shouldn't have a kid, and it is child abuse. It's not okay. I don't care how you were raised. I don't care whether you serve in the military. I don't care. It's child abuse. And then a lot of people want to use well, I was spanked and there's nothing wrong with me. I'm going to read you some statistics from CPS, because I have personal experience with CPS. 16 to 20% of investigated CPS reports result in abuse. 16 to 20, the ones that they actually investigate correctly and find it the first time. 79% of children are investigated as infants. Infants can't speak for themselves. So that means 16 to 20% is found abuse. But 80 to 84% of child protective service cases and reports end up having lack of sufficient evidence. 84% of CPS reports have lack of evidence. 55% of that 84% that doesn't have enough evidence was actually being abused. 55%. So 55% of cases go unlooked because there wasn't enough evidence, even though these children were actively being abused. 55% of America's population is 188 million people, is 55% of America's population. 188 million people. 188 million children never get justice, even though CPS was called, even though they were actively being abused within their home. 188 million. About 54% of all military families go through abuse from the active duty military parent or parents. 54%. Again, that's a lot. In fact, that's a little close to 55%, which is 188 million people. So 188 million children are abused by active duty military parents or parent. I think the entire thing is just really sad. It's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate too because, children are terrified of their parents. And children are given scripts to learn, rehearse, and recite. And even though they tell you, oh no, like you can tell me what's going on, you can't, because your parents have terrified you. If you don't tell the truth, something bad could happen. Kids, their whole world is their parents. A child's entire world is their parents, whether they're being abused or not. And a child's entire world is their home. It is their family. They think, where else am I gonna go? Who else is gonna take care of me? What's gonna go on? What's gonna happen if I lie? Are my parents going to hurt me? Are my parents going to kill me? Because that happens. It's really unfortunate. It's really, really, really sad. And it's sad because these people are probably going to get away with it because they're active duty members and they're active duty military. They're gonna get away with it because, again, system works for them. System doesn't work for children. And that's really unfortunate and that's really sad. I really hope there is justice for these kids in one way or another, and I hope it's not too late to find justice. I hope these kids don't continue a life where they get abused and it's covered up as just being popped and slopped and hit and tapped or whatever, you know what I mean? I hope that they really do get justice before it's too late and they don't have to live their entire life experiencing this. I really do hope that. And it's really sad. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate how normalized child abuse has become. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have any topics you want to see down below or anything you want me to cover or discuss. I would love to. If you have a comment, leave it below. I love to talk to you guys. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the love in my videos I've been getting. It means the world to me. So thank you so much. And I hope you have an amazing day and you enjoyed the video. Okay, that's it. Bye. Mwah.